Good afternoon. It's March 21st, 2023, and today, really, it ended up being a range day in the overnight and in the morning. Shortly after open, it looked like we might be in an uptrend, but I think really we just had a break of this channel, and now we're getting a move to a new high. And so now that we got that new high, we'll see by the end of the video what's going on, but an interruption. I don't know where I left off, so we'll just start talking about the trade. So it looked like we had both possibilities earlier, this larger trend channel and also this yellow trend channel. Sometimes these move a little bit. This is probably where I would have had it. You can see the midline holding prices. Perhaps it's more like that. Yeah, that could be it. So anyway, 5 o'clock happens in this congestion, I think. Yeah, so let's zoom in there. You have a second entry long right there at 530. So you might take that one. Right, that's a second entry. Yeah, that's a second entry long. Perhaps you take it. Not the greatest setup with all this congestion happening. You might have a range drawn like that, and in which case it would be a second entry long off the lows, but you got to be a little concerned about that midline of the range. But anyway, we break out, it fails, probably hits that midline, and then it bounces, and then we go higher, but the midline of the yellow channel holds prices, and some selling probably comes in at the open, and then it's super congestive. Look at all these dojis. You can't be trading this. This kind of looks like a fail break lower, but I mean, this is clearly some sort of range. So perhaps you take that. I don't know. But yeah, with all those dojis, it's very clear that that's a range. Come back, test that breakout area, and you do get a higher low with a very bullish signal bar. Maybe you take that one, and then you get another higher low, but it looks like it's running into resistance at the midline. But we shoot on higher, and we form a new high from this yellow channel, and then we sell off. And there's no way to get in. This overshoot leads to a break, and then we find some support on that larger channel. And you get a higher low off of it, but I'm not too convinced yet. I'm waiting for a new low from this channel. You get a second entry short with a lot of room back to the EMA, but it wasn't clear if we were going to go higher yet. It looks like an uptrend that's running out of steam, so you might take that. And then you can see we gap over this larger channel right here. Comes back and tests it, but maybe you take this lower high, but you're going right into a trend line. I don't think you want to take that. This turns out to be a really nice move down. And we get a break, and you get a hidden second entry short. That's also, it could be considered a failed second entry long. So you might take that. And you get another second entry short right here. But technically it's like a third entry. It just looks like a second entry. It also looks like a failure, so maybe you take those, but that's aggressive. It also looks like it could be a range. So you might think about. So I'm not crazy about that one. Even though it looks pretty good. Looks all right, I mean. So I do believe this turns out to be a channel, this larger move down. We find some support here though, and we don't get a setup off the trend channel. Goes lower, finds support right there again, and you get a double test. But in this downtrend, I'm not taking something like that. We haven't had a break of this channel. That does lead to a break, and you get this higher low. But that's exactly where they trap the longs. They take it lower until all those people exit. It finds support on the other side of this channel, and it goes higher. And technically, this looks like a two-legged correction, so maybe you take that. You can see it's technically a third entry. The second entry happens right here. But I don't know, if you're feeling aggressive, maybe you take that. And we come down here, we test this support again. Maybe you go long right here, but you're better off waiting for a higher low. But 1050, so you would have gotten a scalp. And then it goes lower, and the breakout lower fails. And pretty congestive, so I don't think you can take that for a reversal. Maybe you take this double test, though. Looks too much overlap, though. Looks like too much overlap. And then we find resistance at the opening price. And this is very congestive, so I don't know. I don't like any of that. Then we start moving lower. Failure too far from the EMA. Overshoot leads to a break, and you get this second entry short. Only problem is that it's not technically, this is your signal bar, so that's a very bearish bar, and these don't look like dojis, so you might consider that one. And we make a new low and just kind of chop sideways. This is the second entry, so you can't take this, even though this looks like, honestly, this looks like one leg. So maybe you take that, but I mean, you might be expecting a reversal. So I don't think you can take that one. It's not clear where prices are going. If you're playing it like a range and the midline is the support, though, you don't want to take that because you'd be going short into the lows. Anyway, you get a second entry short right there off of the resistance. That's a double test. I don't think there's room back to this midline, though. Yeah, there's only 3 ticks. So I don't think you can take that. It reverses, comes up here. This range turned out to be just a range around the midline from the highs of at the open and the lows, the overnight lows. So we break out, we test this a couple times before going higher. We hit that measured move and go a little higher, but that fails. Test this price level again. It bounces. Is that a second entry? So that's a second entry off of that level of support. And it looks like there might be room back to the EMA. Yeah, so you might take that for a scalp. Hits that measured move. You might take this one. I mean, I like this one. Second entry short, bearish bar, few ticks back to the EMA. And it comes back, tests that support again, and bounces. Unfortunately, no setup in here. We get a big correction, and it bounces around here, forms a level of support. You get a second entry short. This is clearly a move down. So maybe you take that to test a new low. Again, though, it's not the technically this is the signal bar. But anyway, we find support here. You got a failure. It just doesn't set up very well. But I mean, I looked at this as a double bottom, so new low, first entry, failed second entry. But prices couldn't go lower, so perhaps you consider that. And that would have gotten you in on this move. My watch is going off. That would have gotten you in on this move. So it chops its way on up. This is a second entry, but you're expecting a new high, but this opening price has been a level of resistance, so I don't think you want to take that. And that's all I see. For now, you can see we're just going sideways. And we're making new highs. So that's what I saw today. Not a lot of great setups, unfortunately. Hopefully we'll have something better tomorrow. Hope everyone had a great day. I'll be back tomorrow.